Larry, good to see you. We have a fun one today. The biggest retirement regrets and how to avoid them. According to a recent report from Consumer Affairs, 60% of seniors have regrets about how they prepared or didn't for retirement. And among the regrets, 63% wish they had planned their investments to provide automatic income. How do we avoid that mistake?
I think the easiest way there, Erin, is to meet with a professional who has all the tools available. We actually have a toolbox in our conference room that shows people that we're kind of agnostic to what we're going to look at as far as where to put their monies, but it's important to look at everything. Some of them are taboo, like, hey, you never use an annuity, or you never use a certain stock, or you never use a certain bond. The truth is, you should look at all forms of your monies and decide where those things should go. So make sure you don't have a bias against any tool. Make sure you understand what those tools can do.
Right. And make sure you're working with somebody who doesn't have any biases as well. Another 85% wish they had built their portfolios to withstand the unexpected, including inflation and market volatility.
Aaron, we've always heard about inflation, but that's something that many people had a harder time to wrap their mind around because they just didn't see it on a daily basis. They didn't
Hmm.
feel it, kind of slipped up on them a little bit.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
inflation's running at 2 or 3%, it's not as noticeable. We've certainly been exposed to a lot of that the last 3, 4 years of knowing how much that can damage a portfolio. But for years, I still showed people at a modest 2.5% inflation rate. If they say I need $6,000 a month to live on forever, I'd be a happy camper, and we show them in 10 years from now that 6,000 has to be about 7,500 to equal the 6,000 that you're enjoying now. That's a
Right.
big shock because they're going to need a
Right.
lot more money in order to make that happen. So very important. Kind of the first part of that theme is to meet with a professional who understands and can prepare you for that.
Hmm. Next, of course, not considering tax implications was a huge regret, especially if the bulk of our savings is in a 401k or other tax deferred account.
You mentioned it at the beginning, is that we have some people have regret they didn't start soon enough. I've actually got some people who regret that they started and saved too much. They say that, I don't know if you can have too much, but they have too much in the wrong bucket. So when they
Exactly.
realize they have
Yeah.
it all in a traditional IRA, they've got a
Mhm.
million, 2 million, $3 million, but then they realize it doesn't all belong to them. The IRS has a take in that. You ever a partnership there that they owe about 30% of that money to Uncle Sam. So yeah, I have had more people who regret of having that, but I still say it's not too late. When we work with people, we show them on how to start moving what they need to live on if they're retired, or we meet them a few years prior, we can go ahead and start Rothing that money over or some other alternatives to get that money out of the IRA and be lot more tax efficient for them in retirement.
Yeah, take advantage of today's historically low tax rates. So, one investor shared his experience of putting his retirement funds in a robo-advised portfolio, which had 20% in mortgage-backed securities, among other poorly performing sectors. His regret was not working with a professional.
Aaron, when that came around, a lot of advisors wondered how that would affect, an advisor. But
Mhm.
most of us knew that you need to have that personal touch for one. But secondly, I mean, you look at what a robo advisor is looking at. They're looking at the age that a client is and when they're wanting to retire. They're not looking at all the variables in there. So I mean, it's kind of a plan for disaster. In fact, many of those firms, or a lot of those big firms that offered that have taken those back because they're not working as they expected to. So it gets back down to working with a professional who understands what retirees are facing, making sure that they're using all the tools available.
Of course, and that's going to be different for everyone. There is no one answer. So, Larry, if somebody would like to come to you for a fully customizable financial plan, what's the best way to reach you?
They can call our office. That office number is area code 615-216-1048. But they go on our website, get some information, and set up something. And that is info@sfawealth.com.
Great. Larry, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Aaron.